Hi there, I'm Martha Van Dam and this is Living Beyond. And today we're starting a new series. It's called Therapy Trails, Paths Toward Mental and Emotional Wellness. And in this series, what I'm going to do is take some things that I see regularly in my office with the people that come through here. And these people are just like you. They may even be you. But these are some of the things that come up over and over again with the various people. And so since I know that the people that come into these office face these specific things, I know chances are exceptionally good that you do too. So starting today, we're going to take one topic, and it's the topic of filters. We develop filters in our relationships with other people. Have you ever noticed how with some people may get on your nerves fast, maybe faster than they ever used to? And these people tend to be people that you're around somehow a lot. It can be a spouse, a partner, parents, kids, someone living in the home with you, a neighbor, a coworker, someone that you're with a lot, but you find that they get on your nerves very easily. Well, usually what has happened in those cases is we have seen little behaviors. There's been little things that have happened between you and that person, me and that person, and they've been these things that as they've happened, we didn't know how to deal with them, or we didn't deal with them at the time. We didn't process the events as they happened because most of us were not trained all of our lives growing up on really how to do that. So there's been this little issue between you. And if it doesn't really get dealt with, what we end up usually doing is just kind of shoving it to the side. But the problem with that is that later on there's likely been another issue, and that one also didn't get dealt with. And over time, it also got shoved to the side. And this little stuff that gets shoved to the side becomes these beliefs that we have about this person. So, for example, the way this works is if maybe let's take your partner, your spouse. If they have been insensitive once and we kind of look past it and don't really deal with it, and then they're insensitive again, and then again and again, and after a while, you begin to see your person through this filter of they're just insensitive. And when that happens, now if we're looking through this filter that says they're insensitive or they're harsh or they're selfish, any number of things, they don't care about me. The list is absolutely endless. But as we see them through this filter, then we begin to see even things that wouldn't fit, that are not selfish, that are not insensitive, but we can see them that way because we have this filter in place. Now, this is the way the brain works. The example I use in my office all the time is this. What kind of car do you drive? You think about what kind of car you drive. And then remember when you drove off the lot or away from the person's house where you bought the car, wherever it is, when you first got this car, didn't you see the exact same car as yours all of a sudden all over the place? It was everywhere because your brain had gotten primed, and then your brain is more sensitive to something that is the same or similar. The same thing happens with this filter. We get primed to expect insensitivity, selfishness, arrogance, whatever it is that we think we're seeing from this person, or we are maybe seeing from this person. And then we see it over and over again. And again, the issue is that it may be in places where it actually doesn't exist. And then that filter can make it very, very difficult for us to work towards some reconciliation or work toward growing that relationship again. So you likely do have some filters in place with some of the people in your world. It's almost, unless you are really, really good at processing every little issue that comes up between you, you likely have a filter. And the exercise that I give people to work on, I've used it myself, and I find it to be so very helpful. The exercise is at the end of the day, and you have to make it work with your schedule, however your schedule works. So it doesn't have to be the end of the day, but the end of a 24-hour period. Then I want you to speak to one another, and each of you tell the other two things that you appreciate about them that you have seen within that 24-hour period. And so if you're doing it at night, it pretty much will be all of that day, something that you have seen. And to begin with, since it's a new idea, you'll come up with things pretty quickly. But then you'll find that as as about the second or third day, it's not such a new idea anymore, and you'll have a harder time coming up with things. Now, here is what's vitally important about this exercise. When I say something that you've seen that you appreciate or you value in your person in the last 24 hours, it must be something that is specific to those 24 hours. Like, you can't say to your husband or wife who works really hard at their job, you can't say, well, I appreciate that you're a really hard worker, because you could say that any day. But if that particular day you didn't feel well, but you got up and you went out and you did it anyway, that's within the 24 hours. So you don't say to your wife, you are just gorgeous, although that's a great thing to hear. We need something within the 24 hours. So this is different. It's different. You are so pretty, or you are gorgeous, is very different from, I love the way you looked when we went out last night. Yeah, I love the outfit. You put some time in. You were hot and I enjoyed being with you. You just looked great. That is within the 24 hours. You're a good cook is not within 24 hours. Man, that lasagna that you made tonight was delicious. You're a patient person is not within 24 hours. Our child was acting up and you were so patient, and I was so impressed with that patience this morning. That's within the 24 hours. See, that's for today. So you try that. You each tell each other 2 things, and so many things are going to happen out of that. First of all, it's going to train your brain. Remember we said what you kind of start looking for, you see? Well, it's going to train your brain to see the really good and wonderful things about this person that you love. It's going to help shift that filter. So that filter has gotten into a place where it sees so readily and so easily the negative things. This exercise helps it to have a more balanced view, which is, yes, this person, I'm sure, occasionally does some insensitive things, but they probably also do some really wonderful ones too. So we have a balance. When you're hearing the things, number one, it's going to feel really nice to hear things that your person admires about you or appreciates about you. And number two, it may be really surprising because they may say some things that you weren't expecting. You may have worked really hard to do something and you think they're going to notice that. They may not notice that. They may notice something entirely different. And the important piece of that is now you're getting to know your person even better because you're seeing things that they appreciate that you might not have even thought about. Might not have realized that was so important to them. So it trains our brain to see the good. It helps us when we feel appreciated, when we hear the good. It's just good all the way around. So I've never heard of anybody to say they didn't like it. I have heard people say it feels a little awkward at first. Of course it does. It's contrived. It's not coming naturally. But the cool thing about it is that with a little bit of time, it then will become natural. And that's what we're after. We're after you coming to the point where you don't have to, at the end of the day, say 2 specific things. We're after the mind shifting and growing and developing new pathways to the point that the brain notices when your person does a cool or beautiful or wonderful thing, and you note it then. And a little while later, your brain notices another thing and you share it then. That's eventually what we're after. And that is a much better place to be. It is so much easier than to work through issues when we're seeing our person through a balanced view of, yeah, sometimes they do annoying things because, that's part of the human condition. And an awful lot of the times they bring wonderful things to the table that I admire. That's what we're after. So we're working on our filter, and we have something to do about it. And I can't wait to hear what you say to me about how it works. Please message me somehow and let me know what you think about it. And looking forward to talking to you tomorrow. Thanks and bye-bye.